Good morning. Thank you for joining me. My name is Zane Waller, and I'm a sales rep here at Megaport based out of Dallas. Thank you again so much for your time to learn a little bit more about Megaport, kind of how our network as a service really is turning the connectivity game on its head. So just to kind of give you a brief layout of what I have planned for us today, I've got a quick about 5 slide deck just to kind of go over some current industry trends and go over a few of the solutions that Megaport provides to help you get connected. So from there, I'm going to actually show you a live look at our portal, kind of show you how easy it would be to set up a port as well as a connection over to AWS. But let's go ahead and get into it. So, here at Megaport, we really do believe that connectivity should be easy. So we've built a network as a service platform that provides secure, simple, and scalable connectivity. Literally with just a few clicks, you can create a private global network on demand. And even better than that, you can control capacity. So you're not going to have any more headaches from oversaturation or underutilized resources. Now, with network being a key factor to application performance, managing connectivity across multiple clouds is a necessity. However, the majority of the organizations that we work with, they tell us about how they're struggling with cost, complexity, performance, as well as security risks. Now, it's difficult and time-consuming to address the above challenges, especially when 2/3 of participants report that upgrading a cloud network connection can be a multi-week or even multi-month process. Now, without a Megaport, if you look at how some customers are trying to function without a network as a service platform, they have to deploy many POPs, points of presence, if you will, to establish connectivity to the service providers they require. Not only do they have to do that, but the connections they deploy usually have a lead time of about 2+ weeks with very limited ability to scale. Now, these connections are typically going to be one-to-one, which means multiple connections are going to be required to ensure high availability and redundancy. Now, with latency also playing a huge role in performance, you're going to find that you have a limited reach of a single point of presence, and it's typically not going to suffice. So this means you're going to have to continually be adding more POPs, which adds to your complexity as well as your cost. Now, customers who are leveraging Megaport, they're going to have the ability to deploy scalable capacity to the top service providers across the globe. Now, with various options to access our platform, users can leverage their existing POPs and or deploy virtual POPs. Now, this provides high levels of performance without the need for large capital investments. Even better, our services are one-to-many, which means deploying multiple connections for high availability is not going to be cost prohibitive. Now, with Megaport, network is no longer going to be a necessary evil, but a way to really drive initiatives across your business. Now, you'll be able to connect to all your major hyperscalers, over 100 different data center operators, and 360+ service providers within our marketplace. Now, everything's going to be secure. Your data travels on our private global network, bypassing the public internet, which gives you predictable performance. It's basically like having your own fiber line. Now, with us, you're going to pay only for the capacity you deploy. So since you can scale that capacity up and down on demand, you're no longer going to have to worry about traffic spikes or wasted capacity. So you're going to have the ability to design, deploy, and manage it all on one single portal, one pane of glass. It's going to be point and click. You'll basically just bring your cloud service keys, and our integrations will make establishing private connectivity really painless. Now, just to kind of give you a glimpse at who's currently using Megaport, we have over 2,800 enterprise customers, really by helping them establish direct connections to the different cloud service providers. Now, in conjunction with that, we work with over 100 different data center operators all across the globe with a physical footprint in over 700. On top of that, like I just mentioned recently, we do offer something called the Megaport Marketplace, which allows you to connect to all different sorts of service providers, not just cloud service providers. So what that is we have customers of ours who have made their port public to other customers. So you can think of like 8x8, Ring Central, a lot of VoIP type of services like that. They utilize us, and they open up their port to be able to be accessed by other customers, giving you a really simple, fast connection into them. Now, with the simplicity and control that Megaport provides, our users regularly create custom deployments working with our solutions teams. We also have several core solutions that cover the most common scenarios we report. First, you're going to have hybrid cloud. Basically, you're going to be able to connect infrastructure in the data center to any of the service providers across our network. Basically, just getting a single mode fiber cross connect into our equipment within the Meet Me room opens up the possibilities for all of your networking and access needs. Now, another type of deployment we see is going to be cross cloud. So, if you're having to have information be split between two clouds, information going back and forth, you can do that with Megaport. You'll be able to spin up a virtual router that'll basically be able to handle traffic between two or even more clouds at the edge. And lastly, some of the other scenarios that we see to support are going to be a virtual POP. So basically, you can have on-demand network function virtualization, deploying SD-WAN gateways, virtual routers, and virtual firewalls in just minutes. You can kind of think of that as, expanding your SD-WAN fabric onto the Megaport global network through edge locations that would be near large pockets of your users. Basically, you'd be able to IPsec tunnel from a branch location into our access point, which can host your compute and be your compute platform to get you to data centers, to cloud service providers, or to other MVE type of points. It's basically like virtualizing your data center footprint. Now, as you continue to expand your resources, Megaport will be able to grow with you. We're not just in, North America, not just in APAC, but we're a very global company. That's why we've deployed in over 800 data centers worldwide. So, whether you're looking to connect physical POPs, connect a virtual POP back to your core network, or localize your traffic flows, our global WAN as a service is really going to simplify that process and even allow you to have a full mesh network system throughout the globe. And then from here, I actually wanted to hop into our portal and kind of show you what it would look like to set up a port as well as connectivity. So I'm going to go into our portal right now and let me log in. Let me make sure first y'all are seeing my screen okay. Okay, perfect. It is working how it should. So right now I'm going to go ahead and log into the Megaport portal. So whenever you become a customer, you're automatically going to have access to this really slick platform. It's going to be your single pane of glass for your network configuration. So here I'm on the services tab. This is basically where I'd be able to order any of our access products, whether that be the typical Megaport, which comes in a few different sizes. We offer 110 and 100 gigabit ports, but we also have our multi-cloud routers. That's what I was talking about if you needed to have a connection from cloud to cloud without it needing to hairpin back to your physical data center. It's basically a virtual router, something that's very useful in networking today. And then you could also create the MVE, which was kind of that SD-WAN expansion onto our network that I was alluding to as well. But let's go ahead and just create a port. So I'm going to go ahead and hit create port, and it's going to give me a list of all the different data centers in which I have a presence. So for me, I'm over here in Dallas, so I'm going to go ahead and find one of my Dallas data centers. So CyrusOne Carrollton, that's a good one. So I'm going to go ahead and select that as my location, and I'll hit next. So once I come to this screen, it's going to give me a few different options on how I want to configure this port. First, it's going to have me choose my port speed. Here we got 10 and 100 gig. I'll go ahead and select 10, and I'll go ahead and give it a name, ZW test. And then here you can select the term length. As you go up, you'll notice that you do get a pretty significant discount with different term options. So here I can select if I want to have a diverse port pair. So basically what that means is that we have two different switches within that data center's Meet Me room, giving you the ability to have two different ports on two different sets of equipment, giving you the ability to have high availability and redundancy where you need it. Most cloud service providers are actually going to require that you do have a primary and secondary link, so it is very important that you usually go ahead and deploy in a diverse manner. But for this one, I'll go ahead and just select none since we're running it through a demo. And I'll hit next. It's going to spit out a quick summary of what we're looking to do. And I'll go ahead and hit add port. Now over here, it's just going to be like if you're shopping for Christmas presents on Amazon, it's going to hop into your cart. You're going to have to order a couple times. I'll hit order now, and what's happening is it's going ahead and provisioning and deploying this port within the CyrusOne data center. It's going to be pre-patched, so what that does is we're automatically able to give you a LOA for that single mode fiber cross connect. So here it'll take about 60 seconds before we get the blue link, just like so, and that'll be what you want to give over to CyrusOne, in this case as the data center operator, to go ahead and run that cross connect into us. Now, once that cross connect is live, you'll be able to set up your different VXCs to different cloud service providers or other data centers, as your ports can not only be used for cloud connectivity, but also data center interconnection. So while this is waiting, like I said, takes about 60 seconds, I'll show you a few other items on our website that I think might be helpful for you. So first thing I want to show you is our enabled locations. So if you were to go to megaport.com and select locations on the right, you're going to see all the different data centers in which we have a presence. You can even filter it down by which locations allow you to deploy an MCR, that Megaport Cloud Router, as well as the Megaport Virtual Edge. From here, you'd be able to zoom in, zoom out, and even if you had to figure out, what might be the closest data center to you, if you had a on-prem type of network and you needed to get a last mile over to, an enabled data center location, you could easily select Find My Location, type in your address, and it'll let you go from there, and it'll give you the closest one. So let me go ahead and hop back into our portal and see if everything's working. As you can see, it is. It's fully configured. I'd be able to download that LOA. But from here, let's go ahead and set up a connection to AWS. Hopefully it doesn't take too long. We're about to find out. So let me hop in, select AWS. Now it's going to give me two different connection sites for AWS. I'm not sure if you're familiar with their Direct Connect product, but they offer a hosted VIF and a hosted connection. Usually the kicker for if you need to go with a hosted connection is going to be if you're using a transit gateway. Most of our customers are, so I'm going to go ahead and select hosted connection. From here, it's going to give me all of our different on-ramps that we have for AWS. And since I have this deployed in Dallas, I'm going to try to find the closest on-ramp to Dallas. So let me go ahead and just filter down, and we'll see here we've got tons and tons of different on-ramps. Oh, and look, we have Dallas right there. So something you also notice, you see, why is Dallas displayed twice? So that's because we actually offer two different diversity zones within Dallas, denoted as a red zone and a blue zone. So if you did need to set up that kind of redundant design that I was speaking to earlier, you could basically have one port running up going to the red zone and then have that second port going to the blue zone. So if one were to go down, the other would stay up, keeping you in an active situation. But I'll go ahead and just select red zone for Dallas and hit next. It's going to ask me to give it a name. And then it's going to ask me to select my rate limit. So since we're on a demo, I'm only going to do 50 megs, and I'm going to hit next. So here it's going to ask me for my AWS account ID. I've got my AWS account right here. So let me go ahead and copy that. And I'll paste it in here. And hit next. And we'll hit add VXC. It's going to hop into my cart like it did with the port. Just have me validate a couple items there. Hit order now. So what it's doing is it's going ahead and deploying, and this should take about 90 seconds before I get a Direct Connect popping up within my AWS console, and that's where we'll actually accept it. And then once we accept it, it'll turn to be live. But while we're waiting on that, let me just show you one other item on our website that I think would be helpful for you. So if you were to go to resources over here on the right and select Megaport Docs, it's going to take you to our general repository of all of our different documentation. Unlike some other service providers, you try to go to their website for documentation, you could be searching for hours trying to figure out where do I need to go. But with Megaport, I think you're going to be very pleasantly surprised at how well our documentation is, from having to figure out how to set up a port. You'll see here we'll kind of give you a play-by-play, kind of like I just did within this demo, show you everything that you need to do. And then if you needed to know how to create connections to various cloud service providers, you can come over here and see that very easily. So if you're like, oh, I need to do an express route, it'll show you all that good information, walk you through it. If you realize that, oh, I can't support Q&Q, you can have we have a documentation right there showing you how we can help support you, even if that was the case. So there's a lot of good information in this docs page. But let me go ahead and hop back over to AWS. Okay, as you can see, it's populated the Direct Connect that I created. So let me go ahead and just click on that. Let me make sure everything matches up. Looks like our API is working right. I've got the correct account ID, correct bandwidth that I connected to, right region, and location Dallas. So we are using that local on-ramp. So I'll go ahead and just select accept, hit confirm, and then within about another 60 seconds, I'm going to have a live VXC out to AWS. Let's just let it come up here for a sec. You got to give it the old refresh. And as you see here, everything's connected and we're good to go. And just like that, you see really how easy it is to get set up with Megaport, get your connection over to AWS, and really configure your network by hitting the easy button. But thank you so much for your time today. And if you have any other questions or need anything, always feel free to reach out to me. Thanks. Bye.